Good morning, everyone. I am here in beautiful Tasmania, and I wanted to do a little bit of a tea time for you. I know we're a little later in the week than usual, but that seems to be how it goes when I'm traveling. My clinics tend to run Saturdays through Tuesdays, and then I don't always have the headspace or the internet or the time to do it the day directly after the clinic. So here we are a day later than that. And welcome anyone who is watching now. Welcome to anyone who will watch later. I really love these tea times, whether I get to see you live or we talk about it later. I find that they're a great way for me to consolidate my learning for the week. And they're a great way for me to pass on whatever is new and interesting in my mind. So this week, after last week's tea time, where we talked about ripples of response, I had a student send me a video that was really interesting to me. And I spent some time slowing it down, looking at it closely, watching the herd interactions. And I'm going to share it this week in my Patreon group, but I thought I'd talk about it a little bit now. And that is something that was a bit of a revelation to me when I talk about ripples of response in the herd, where one horse does something and then another horse does something in response, and how this is the bonding agent in a herd. I had this epiphany that this is actually how horses ask for connection. So we get really good as humans asking for connection. We ask horses to connect to us, and we know they're connected to us when they do behaviors that we like. But how do they ask us to connect to them? And this was a huge aha moment for me. I realized the way horses ask us to connect to them is by becoming difficult. And this was such a huge epiphany for me yesterday. I couldn't believe that I haven't really thought about it before. So let me unwrap that a little bit for you. Horses naturally are herd animals, and I believe they naturally want to have harmony with others. They want to be in flow. They want to be pointed the same direction. They want to make sure that they don't collide with each other. They want to be together in a way that's harmonious. That's natural for them. But they also want to seek connection. And the way they seek connection is they want to be seen as an individual, not as a sheep in a flock. They want to be an individual within that family structure. So the way they ask to be seen as an individual is by pushing or pulling. So this can be in a million tiny ways. And sure, they don't have to be difficult to ask for connection. But very often, nobody responds to them when they ask in ways that are not difficult. So if one horse reaches over to the other and nuzzles them, is there any response? Is there a ripple of response through the herd? If one horse looks up around across the horizon and they want to see what's going on over there, does anybody also notice? So when they are pushing or pulling, they are saying, look at me, I'm different from everyone else. Do you notice how I'm different? Now, if they are pushing and pulling in really good ways, like I just mentioned, then we have ripples of response that are really healthy in the herd, and it's okay if the response is a little late. If that's not responded to, if they feel like they're not getting enough response for the little push and the little pull, they're going to become difficult. They're going to push and pull more. So that means horses that bite, horses that kick, horses that pin their ears. Those are your push that are difficult. They're saying, you didn't notice me when I pushed on you in small, gentle ways. So I'm going to raise the intensity and see if you notice me as an individual now. Pull, that's going to be pulling away from the herd. You're going to see this with some horses. When they want attention, they just start to walk off and then everybody follows them. So this seems harmonious, but the fact is that they're seeking to break the harmony so that the others put effort into bringing the harmony back. And so this was an epiphany for me, because I've always looked at fight or flight or push and pull as something we're trying to eradicate out of the habitual system. We want to teach the horse that they don't need to pull on us and they don't need to push on us. And that is still true. But a lot of trainers try and eradicate the push and the pull by punishing it. And what you do when you punish it is you tell the horse they're not allowed to seek connection. Only the human is allowed to seek connection. So ideally, we are going to be responsive to all the small ways they push and pull. So that would be with their eyes, with their ears, with their sensory system. They're pushing or pulling just your attention, not your physical body. If we respond to those enough, the pushes and pulls from the physical body will get more and more gentle and more soft. If they don't get enough response to the mental and the emotional pushes and pulls, then we're going to get into the physical pushes and pulls, and that's where your horse becomes difficult. I don't think they're becoming difficult necessarily because they're really stressed or necessarily because they dislike you. They're want to be known as an individual. Do you know what feel and timing I like? Do you know what my emotional cycle is like? Do you know who I am in comparison to my friend? Because we are different. So this push and pull is the seeking of connection. And the more dramatic it gets, the more the horse feels like they weren't heard at a lower level of intensity. So now they've got to up the volume to say, do you know me the way that I want to be known? So this is perhaps a new way for you to think about it when your horse pushes on you or the horse pulls on you. Now, we still don't want to encourage that behavior, because if they have to raise the intensity of their push and their pull, they don't feel good. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And even if they weren't stressed before they did it, they tend to become more stressed when they're doing it. So this is where a really simple principle comes in. Simple, but not easy. And that is that for any behavior you want more of, you can be just a little bit late to respond to it. But you still have to respond within a reasonable amount of time. But if you're a little late, what it does is it makes them realize it's possible to get your attention. And they want to work at getting it faster next time. So they get very motivated. Whatever I did to get your attention, could I do more of that behavior to get your attention quicker? So we can be just a tiny bit late, and it actually encourages them and it motivates them to try that behavior more. Now, if we want to eradicate a behavior, we want to take away a behavior, we really need to be early, which means before my horse bites me, I go to action and I do something. This is not about punishment. I'm not punishing them for biting me, but I do something, anything. I don't just stand there like an idiot. I make sure and take action before I'm bitten, and then I will find I get bitten less and less and less. The bite is to say, hey, you didn't go to action soon enough because you clearly are not connecting to me. You clearly don't know what it is that I need and when I need it. So this idea of any behavior you want more of, you can be just a little bit late, not too late, but a little bit late, so they want to do more of that to see if they can get you responding faster. Then anything you want less of, you've got to be early. You've got to go to action before they push you. You've got to go to action before they pull away from you. So if you can take this on board and think about it, then you can honor your horse's need for connection. And their ask for connection is to break the harmony. Anytime your horse breaks the harmony, they are asking to be known better. They are asking that you understand their cycles of emotion, their timing, their desires. That is their seeking for connection. So when you get a horse that breaks harmony a lot, that's irritating in the herd, that winds up a lot, that escalates their behavior, all they're saying is, I need to be understood more. I need connection from my friends. And connection is a series of actions to show that we understand how one individual is different from another individual. So when you see your horse pushing and pulling, it means you have been late to respond to their bids for attention. You have been late to respond to their desire for connection. And if you can get ahead of it, you're going to find they lower the intensity until it's something you like. And when they start asking for connection in ways you like, you can be just a little bit late. If you want to motivate them to try harder or to do more, you can be right on time if you want to show them that you are as connected to them as they need you to be. So I'm kind of excited about this epiphany. It gives me a new light to see horses in, other than their stress is too high when they start to push and pull, which is also true. But seeing it as their bids for connection, as their desire to connect every time they break harmony, really was a huge aha moment for me this week. And on top of that, this idea that I'm doing the same thing. So when I pull away a little bit, or I push into them a little bit, I'm also making a very horse-like bid for attention. If I can make a bid for attention, if I can ask them to pay attention to me in a gentle way, and it works, and we can remember it, and then we can repeat it, this is what connection is built from. So if one of us makes enough effort, there will be no push and pull. If both of us make enough effort, there will be no push and pull. But that's a fairy tale land. In the real world, either the horse or the human is going to feel like they don't quite have enough connection. And that means there's going to be a little bit of push and pull. A little bit of push into the space, a little bit of a pull away from the space to say, hey, could you anticipate my needs and my desires better? Could you know me better? And could you show me through your physical actions that you actually do know me better? So I'm excited about this. I feel like it'll give me new perspective when I'm working with horses. It doesn't change anything I've done. It doesn't change anything I teach. It just gives me a slightly new lens to see it all through. So thank you guys for joining me for tea time. Enjoy thinking about that when you're out with your horses or watching them interact with each other. And I am headed to Victoria next week. I've got 2 clinics in a row, or a clinic and a workshop. One where we work with individual horses, one where we work with horses in a herd. And I'll be looking forward to all the new things that my students and my horses have to teach me over the next 2 weeks. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Thanks for joining me for tea time, and let me know if you have any questions about this.